In this video, I'm going to show you how to work the border of the Birthday Sorbet blanket. Now before we get started, please remember to like and subscribe, and you can view a free copy of this pattern on my website at www.HandmadeByStacyJ.com. Now this is the front view of the border, and this is the back side. Now this is worked using 6 of your contrast colors and a few rounds of the main color to help really make it pop. Now it uses pretty standard stitches, meaning single crochet, half double crochet, and there's some back post double crochet, as well as some little fun baubles of just 3 double crochets. I call them 3 double crochet clusters. And there's also some slip stitches that are worked in there. Now the corner sections are started with either a standing single crochet or a standing half double crochet, and it works with a chain 2 space, so they're pretty easy to find. And it's really not that difficult, so I just walk you through the steps needed mainly for the placement. So grab your hooks, grab your yarn, and let's get started. When we're working the border, you're always going to have the right side facing you. So we will just be working in rounds all the way around it, and we will not be turning our work. So your popcorns will always be facing you. So to begin this, we're going to be using our main color. So in my case, it's the cream. And then we are going to join in any corner. Now I'm choosing to use this corner right here because it's nice and easy with that chain space. And what you're going to do is a standing single crochet. Now if you haven't done a standing single crochet before, I'll walk you through it. So you'll have your slip knot on your hook, insert your hook into that chain space, grab your yarn and draw up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2. And that's your standing single crochet. And you can choose to put a stitch marker in the top of that, or you can leave it as is. And now what we're going to do is work 2 more single crochets in that chain space. So there's 1 and 2. Then we're going to work 3 single crochets in this block right here. Now, depending on where you wove in your yarn, it might be a little funky to get into, and that's okay. Just do it evenly so that you get 3 single crochets. So you might find that it's easier sometimes to work into the stitch. Sometimes you can work the chain. I'm going to work or not the chain, but the top of the stitch. I'm going to work the top of the stitch for this one. So that's 1. And 2 and 3. Then we're going to work 3 single crochets into that chain space of the next block. So right in here, 3 single crochets. So that's 1, 2, and 3. And that's what you will continue doing. So you'll do 3 in the next block, 3 in the next block with the chain space. And then when you get to the corners, you're going to have where you have your 3 double crochet posts and you'll have that chain space. You'll work 3 single crochets, you'll chain 2, and then you'll work 3 single crochets into that chain space. Now when you come up to the very end of this round, you're going to work those 3 single crochets there. You'll chain 2, and then you'll end with a slip stitch on the top of that standing single crochet that you started with. So I'm going to work all the way around. I'll meet you when you get here, and then we can finish out this round, so then we can begin round 2. So I'm coming up to the end of round 1 of the border. So I'm just doing these last 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to chain 2. I'm going to secure it with a slip stitch in the top of that first standing single crochet. And then we're going to fasten off. All right, and now you should have a total of 135 single crochets on each side and a total of 4 chain 2 spaces. For round 2, we're going to start using our contrast color number 2, which in my case is the color Stream. So I'm going to make my slip knot. And then in any corner, we're going to join with a standing half double crochet. Now I tend to join in a different corner than where I just finished off one. No actual preference for me, but I just kind of like to stagger where the bits and joins are, or where the joins are for the blanket. So I'm just going to go back a corner. And here we go. We're going to join in that corner into this chain 2 space. So for the standing half double crochet, we're going to do a yarn over, insert it into that chain 2 space, and then we're going to draw up a loop, and then we're going to finish it off just like you would a half double crochet. Now if you prefer to do a chain 2 and count that as a half double crochet, you can. I just like the look of this. I think it just looks more finished and it just comes together nicely. So now we're going to work 1 half double crochet in each stitch around. And then when you get to the corners, you'll work a half double crochet, chain 2, half double crochet. So do 1 half double crochet all the way around. And then when you get into these corners, you'll work 1 half double crochet, chain 2, 1 half double crochet. And I will meet you when we get to the end here. So I'm coming to the end of round 2, just doing the last 2 half double crochets. That's 1, and then the 1 in the chain 2 space. And you'll have a total of 137 half double crochets on each side. So I'm going to end by chaining 2, and then I put a stitch marker in the top of that standing half double crochet, so that way I can see where I'm going to join. So I'm going to join with a slip stitch. Then fasten off, and we'll start round 3. For round 3, we're going to be using the main color again. So I'm going to make my slip knot. Then I'm going to use a chain 2 space, and I'm going to join in here with a standing single, or I'm sorry, we're going to join with a standing half double crochet. Now this is a fun round. So we're going to start that standing half double crochet by yarning over, inserting that hook, drawing up a loop, and then yarn over and draw through all 3. Now I'm going to add my stitch marker to the top of that. Standing half doubles can be a little challenging to find sometimes, so I do that just for my own peace of mind. Now what we're going to do is we are going to work a back post double crochet around each post from row 2. So we're going to do a yarn over, insert from the back around that post, draw up a loop, then we're going to yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2. And we're going to do that on each post all the way around. So this round will take a little bit more time, but it's going to really make round 2 pop out. So do your back post doubles. Now when you get into the corners, you're going to work a half double crochet, chain 2, half double crochet. So you're working a back post double around all the posts, and in these corners, half double crochet, chain 2, half double crochet, and I'll meet you when we get to this part right here. I'm coming up to the end of round 3, where I just have a couple more back post double crochets to make. That's 1, 2, and the last one. Then we'll work that half double crochet in that last chain 2 space, chain 2, and then join with a slip stitch in the top of that original standing half double crochet. And then we're going to fasten off our white. And then we'll begin round 4. For round 4, we're going to begin using our first contrast color, which for me is the color pink. Now on this round, we're going to be working slip stitches, so you do want to be sure that they're not too tight or they might pull your work and be difficult to work when we do the next round. So what we're going to do is first start off with our slip knot. Then we're going to begin with a standing single crochet in any of the chain 2 spaces in a corner. So a standing single crochet. And then I'm going to mark that. Now what we're going to do is we are going to work 1 slip stitch in each of the next 3 stitches. So just 1 slip stitch in each of the next 3, and remembering to keep them a little bit loose. It's 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to begin the repeat that just goes down this side. So we're going to start by doing a 3 double crochet cluster stitch and top of the next stitch 2 rows below. So what we're going to do is work, see how this stitch is right here? We're going to work in this stitch below. We're going to do a 3 double crochet cluster. And how we do that is it's kind of like doing a double crochet 3 together. So you'll just yarn over, insert your hook into that stitch, yarn over and drop a loop, yarn over, draw through 2. Don't finish that stitch because then you're going to do that 2 more times. So yarn over, insert your hook into that stitch, yarn over, drop a loop, yarn over, draw through 2. Now you'll have 3 loops on your hook. So we're going to do that once more. So yarn over, inserting into that stitch, drawing up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2. Now you'll have 4 loops left on your hook. So you're going to yarn over, draw through all 4. Now when we do this, we are going to leave the stitch behind it unworked. So because we work down here, we don't need to work up here. So after you've done that, you're then going to do a slip stitch in each of the next 5 stitches. Just remember to keep them fairly loose. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then that's your repeat. So we're going to do another 3 double crochet cluster. And we're going to do that in this stitch down here because it's directly below the stitch that we would normally work. So doing this repeat 1 more time, we're going to yarn over, insert our hook into that stitch 2 rows below, draw up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2. Then we're going to do that 2 more times. So yarn over, insert that hook in that same stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2. Once more, yarning over, insert into the same stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2. There's 4 loops on the hook, yarn over, draw through all 4. Now remember, we're going to leave that one unworked, and then we'll slip stitch in the next 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Continue that repeat until you have 4 stitches left on this edge before you get to the corner space. And I will meet you when we're about 4 stitches up to the next corner. I'm coming up to my first corner for round 4, and now I have just the 4 stitches left. So what we're going to do is a 3 double crochet cluster. And one way to tell when you know which one you're working is you can count down here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then this next one here is where you would do your cluster. That's a good, easy way to help keep track of that. So we're going to do a 3 double crochet cluster here. That's 1, 2, 3, Then we're going to work a slip stitch in each of the next 3 stitches. So skipping that last one, or just not really skipping, but just not working that one behind it, I'll do 1, 2, 3. Now I start my corners kind of like right at the very, very beginning, so sometimes I end up with one here. If you do, that's okay. You can just kind of let it go and just work over it. So what I'm going to do here, and that way it just does keep your stitch count the same, because sometimes that hidden stitch gets a little persnickety. So what I'm going to do here now is work a single crochet in the corner, and I'm going to chain 2 and do a single crochet. And then we're just going to do a repeat of what we just did down this side. So we're going to begin by doing a slip stitch in each of the first 3 stitches. Let me move that little guy. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to work a 3 double crochet cluster. So right down here below the next stitch, that 3 double crochet cluster. 1, 2, and 3. And then you'll just not work that one behind it and do the 5 slip stitches. And that is your repeat for going around here. So continue that all the way around, and when you come up to the very beginning where you had that standing single crochet, just work a single crochet in here, chain 2, and join with a slip stitch. So I'll join you when we get to the end of this, and then we'll begin round 5. I'm coming up to the end of round 4. I'm doing this last 3 double crochet cluster, and then we're going to do these last few slip stitches. That's 1, 2, 3, and then work that single crochet in that corner, chain 2, and then join with a slip stitch to the top of the first standing single crochet. Then we're going to fasten off. In round 5, we're going to be using our main color, so in my case the cream, and then in any of the corners in the chain 2 space, we're going to start with a standing half double crochet. So just yarn over, insert into that chain 2 space, drop a loop, go through all 3. And then I'm going to mark that real quick. Then we're going to work a half double crochet in each stitch across except for where the clusters are. So work a half double crochet in that single crochet, and then a half double crochet in each of the next 3 slip stitches. So 1, 2, and this is where you'll thank yourself for doing looser slip stitches when you did this previous round. Okay, now when we come up to the clusters, we're going to work a front post double crochet. So you yarn over, go from front to back all the way around that post, drop a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2. And then you'll do 5 half double crochets. So 1 in each of the slip stitches. So here we go with 1, 2, 3, 5, and then work that front post double crochet around the cluster. And that's what you'll continue doing around this round. And in the corners, you will simply work a half double crochet, chain 2, half double crochet. And then when you come up to the very end, I will meet you as we do this last front post double crochet. I'm coming up on the end of round 5, where I'm doing that last front post double. And what I've been doing to make these pop out just a little bit more is I give this just a little pop out. And then we'll work these last half doubles. And then we're going to end it with a half double crochet in that chain 2 space, chain 2, and then we're going to join with a slip stitch in the top of that standing half double crochet. And then we're going to fasten off. Now we can begin round 6. Now, round 6 is a pretty easy round to do. You're going to be needing your contrast color number 10, or in my case, the spring green. And I'm going to start with my slip knot. Then we're going to find a chain 2 corner space, and we're going to begin with a standing half double crochet. So just like so. Then we're going to work a half double crochet in each stitch. So it's super simple round. So just a half double crochet all the way around. And then in the corners, you will work a half double crochet, a chain 2 half double crochet. You'll end your work by doing a half double crochet, chain 2, and then joining with a slip stitch in top of the first standing half double crochet. And then you'll end up with a total of 145 half double crochets on each side of the blanket. Round 7 is a repeat of round 3, and that's the round where we did the back post double crochets around each of the posts. So to start you off, we start by doing a standing half double crochet in any of the corner chain 2 spaces. So I'm going to start with the standing half double, and then I'm going to mark the top of this one. And then we just do the back post double crochets on each post around. And then when you get to the corners, you will work a half double crochet, chain 2 half double crochet. And as you end it up, you'll do a half double, chain 2, and then join with a slip knot or a slip stitch in the top of that first standing half double. Now at the very end, you'll end up with 147 stitches on each side. So I'm going to work that around, and then I'll meet you for round 8. Round 8 of the border is essentially a repeat of round 4, and that's the one where we did the 3 double crochet clusters as well as the slip stitches. Now in this round, we're going to be using our contrast color number 7, and in my case, that's the color Orchid, and we're going to begin in one of the chain 2 corner spaces with a standing single crochet. And then we're going to start with 4 slip stitches. And remember to keep those nice and loose. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to work a cluster in the stitch that is 2 rows below. And remember, the 3 double crochet cluster is where you yarn over, insert your hook, drop a loop, yarn over, draw through 2. You'll have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, insert your hook, drop a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, and we'll do that one more time. And then when you have 4 loops, yarn over, draw through all 4. Now we're not going to work the stitch that's behind it. Instead, we're going to work 5 slip stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now that's going to be your repeat of doing the cluster, the 3 double crochet cluster, and then the 5 slip stitches. And the way that it should work out is that your cluster is going to be pretty much in the center between the 2 that are below, only up a couple of rows. So let's do this again. And now the way that I like to count to make sure I'm right on track is I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I know that right here is where my cluster is going to be, rather than just trying to go, down and see where things work out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then cluster. It's 1, 2, 3. And then I'll do 5 more slip stitches. So you'll just continue working in that way around. Only when you get to the end of this edge, I will meet you so that we can show you how to do the ending part when we get up to about this section. So I'm going to work my way down. I'll meet you up before we get to this first corner, and then I'll show you how to work that and then to continue working the way around. I'm coming up to the first corner on round 8, and now you'll see that you have 5 stitches that remain. So what I'm going to do is do a 3 double crochet cluster, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's going to go right here. So that 3 double crochet cluster, and then we're going to not work that stitch, and we're just going to do 4 slip stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And in the corners, what you're going to do is work a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. And then you'll just repeat what you just did on this edge on each of the other 3. When you come up to the very end, you'll simply do a single crochet, chain 2, and then you'll join with a slip stitch on the top of that first standing single crochet that you did. So to get you started out again, remember you'll end up doing 4 slip stitches, then your 3 double crochet cluster, and then you'll do 5 slip stitches and the 3 double crochet cluster. And they should always line up to be right about in the center between these 2 guys, only right up here. So I'll meet you at the end of this round so that we can begin round 9. For round 9, we're going to repeat round 5. And that's the one where we did half double crochets across, except for around our 3 double crochet cluster. And that's where we did the front post double crochet. So to get you started on it, we're going to be using our main color. So I'm going to make my slip knot. And then we're going to start with a standing half double crochet in any of the chain 2 corner spaces. So I'm going to use this little guy right here and make that standing half double crochet. Before I go any further, I'm just going to mark that real quick. Then I'm going to work a half double crochet in each stitch across to that cluster. There we go. And then when we get up to that cluster, we'll do that front post double crochet, just working around that cluster. And that's it for this round. So you just continue doing that around, and in each of the chain 2 corner spaces, you'll work a half double crochet, chain 2, half double crochet. And when you come to the very end, just do a half double, chain 2, and then join with a slip stitch in the top of that standing half double crochet. You'll end with a total of 151 stitches on each side. Rounds 10 and 11 are super easy. What they are is a repeat of round 6. So I'm not going to show you the rounds because it is probably the easiest rounds that we have to do on this border. So for round 10, you'll be using your contrast color number 5, which in my case is the chamomile. And then that round will end up with a total of 153 stitches on each side. And then for round 11, I'm using contrast color number 8, which is aquamarine. And that will end with 155 stitches on each side. And what that round is, and this will seem very, very familiar to you, is where you start with a standing half double crochet, and then you'll half double crochet in each stitch around. Each of your corners will be a half double crochet, chain 2, half double crochet, and then when you come up to this end right here, you'll have your half double crochet, chain 2, and then join with a slip stitch into the top of the standing half double crochet. But that's it for the blanket. So these are your 2 last rounds. All you're doing is half double crochets all the way around. So when you're all done with that, just give it a little weaving in of the ends, a little block, and enjoy it. Please tag me on social media with your final pieces though. I would love to see them. And I do hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and please subscribe, and I will see you later with more patterns and tutorials. Thanks a bunch. Bye-bye.